Either the Bible has some pretty glaring contradictions in it, or it was written by an idiot, or probably several idiots. Whenever a contradiction is pointed out to an apologist, the standard tactic is to do some wacky hermeneutic gymnastics in order to deal with it. Here's an Inspiring Philosophy video in which he tries to explain why the Bible's two different genealogies of Jesus are actually consistent with one another.
Supposed Bible contradiction: Matthew's genealogy versus Luke's genealogy. In the different Gospels of Matthew and Luke, we are given the genealogies of Joseph, the adoptive father of Christ. However, they differ on who the father in line of Joseph was. Matthew says Jacob was the father of Joseph and has a line going back to Abraham, but Luke says Heli is the father of Joseph and has a line going back to Adam. These are not different names of the same people, they are completely different genealogies. So do we have a contradiction? Not so fast. There are two ways of handling this. The first and most common argument is the genealogy of Luke was Mary's line. Heli was the father of Mary, who became the father-in-law of Joseph, thus making Joseph his son as well. This would be consistent with the idea that some scholars have suggested, that Luke used a relative of Mary's side of the family as a source for his birth narrative, so he would have taken that genealogy instead. And since there is no Greek word for son-in-law, Joseph is simply called the son of Heli.
Strictly speaking, it's not true that there's no way to say son-in-law in Greek. The Greek term for son-in-law is gambros. However, perhaps what IP meant was that there was no term for son-in-law in ancient Greek. I don't know if this is true or not, but it doesn't really matter, because even if the ancient Greeks had no term for son-in-law, or even if it was a totally foreign concept to them, such a term is not really necessary in order to clearly communicate that one of the lineages is Mary's. Another explanation that IP gives is that one genealogy is Joseph's biological heritage, while the other is his legally recognized line of inheritance. If this is correct, this too could have been easily clarified, saving Bible researchers several centuries of head-scratching. Perhaps an apologist would say that this text is sufficiently clear to the people living in the times and places in which it was written. I doubt this is the case, but even if it is, you'd reasonably expect that a book that Yahweh would like everyone to read would be written as clearly as possible, not just for the people in the Zitzim Leben in which it was written, but for everyone. So if it is in fact the case that there is no contradiction here, the Bible was written very poorly. Why would a divinely inspired text be so unclear? Is it really all that unreasonable to expect a book dictated to scribes by a god would not have clarity issues so glaring that they could easily be detected by the editor of a fucking middle school student newspaper?